who you vote for. People have to become, we can't do anything when you vote someone on the board who's a nightmare. So you really need, and encourage your friends, look into the history of that person as far as you can. Because whoever you get, you're going to live with, and they're going to control your life for years.
All right, so code of conduct. So let's hear from the, of course, that's why we're here tonight, so we can get to know the candidates. Let's hear what an attorney might add to summarize.
All of this is very easy to say. Look at the British House of Commons and see how raucous they are, but they do accomplish. And, you know, a code of conduct, it's how a person is and how a person reacts. You don't know that. It's like when couples get married, they don't know that one is going to get angry and flare up. So all we can do is listen to them, speak to them, hope that the candidate has what we call temperament. I know many a judge without judicial temperament. Jerks. But they have the power. So, who can tell what the temperament of an individual is? Unfortunately, on short notice, none of us can. And we can hope that we have people with maturity, we have a good set of rules, we have a strong enforcer of the rules of conduct of the association, and there is a guy called Robert's Rules of Order, and we need a gavel with a very long handle.
That's constructive. Michael, do you want to add anything? No. Okay, fine. That's fine. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you, Marvin. Okay, go ahead.
Essentially, I think the Roberts Rules kind of sums up what needs to be done. Starting with the new board, the new president must essentially start a simple precedent. I've served on other boards, and when an issue comes up, it's a relatively simple procedure. Each board member states their ideas, states their opinion. It goes to the next one, states their ideas, until everybody states their ideas and opinions. And if necessary, there's a little bit of question and answer to clarify, but it's just clarifying questions, and then the board votes. If the leader of the, which is usually the president, but whoever presides at the meetings, establish a simple enforceable procedure. If we have disruptive people, we simply have to take this. We agree on disciplinary action up front, and if we have disruptive people, the rest of the board follows through on their previously agreed disciplinary action. It can be handled. Even with disruptive influences of the board member that we all know who it is, he can be controlled. He acts like a rude, arrogant teenager, but he can be controlled, and it's very possible. Simply establish the rules and agree to the rules up front, and do it.
Okay.
I think it can be done.
Thank you. All right. We're not taking questions, Belle, but the questions are going to be on Thursday. Okay, we're just trying to learn about these folks, and I'm very happy with what I hear. Okay, we have very good potential here. Delinquencies are a big problem and growing. What steps would you take to reduce delinquencies? I'm not starting with Ed because it's not fair. Let's start, Marvin. Not Marvin, I mean Michael. Michael.
I've given this subject a lot of thought over the last couple of years, and
Don't give us all of what you've learned.
I got
okay, just give us some of what you've learned.
Just some bullet points.
Okay, bullet it, right?
Bullet points.
Okay.
Number one, I would deactivate the barcodes of delinquent owners. Save the applause for the end. Use the entrance gate to identify tenants of delinquent owners. Third, send the demand letters that we've already had printed out to the owners and the tenants of delinquent owners, using the authority of our new amendment, giving 10 days to comply with either amnesty if you qualify as tenants or face eviction. Number four, contact the banks to expedite the foreclosure process of units through short sales. And number 5, implement blanket receivership to receive all the rent money we can that's now going into the pockets of delinquent owners.
Okay. Anyone want to add to that? Go
I
ahead.
would add
Ann.
that it should be done right away. I mean, the first time that they're delinquent, it should start immediately instead of letting it add up and adding interest and putting it out of condition altogether. It should start immediately.
I assume that
We are. It has started.
Okay.
I just have one little thing to add. All of Michael's points, of course, are excellent. One thing that a few things we have already started to institute and are showing to reduce the delinquencies, at least to clean up our records, is that we have been sending demand letters to delinquent owners who owe us fairly nominal sums of money at the present time, and asking them to come into the office, and we will negotiate with them. We will waive some of the late fees. We will waive some interest in the interest of getting them to give us a lump sum payment on their arrears and a firm agreement to stay current from now on. This has been very successful. And it's not a giveaway because we're not in the business to earn money on late fees, okay? It's not as if the late fee is the maintenance itself. We want to get the maintenance, we want to get the assessments. And the late fee is just to let the people know that we're serious, that if they don't pay up, they're being penalized. It's to our advantage to use good common sense to waive some of these late fees and collect as much money up front as we can with the promise to stay current. The blanket receivership is a very, very valuable tool, and hopefully we're going to implement that as soon as possible. We have tools now that we never had before with the amendments that were passed last year. And the most important of them, as we've emphasized several times here, several people, the ability to have rents paid directly to the association when the owner is not paying the maintenance. And that's the best tool that we have available.
Thank you. Anybody else for a comment? Marvin?
I just want to add to all the points that have been brought up, I agree with, and just add one other item. Part of our delinquency and deficit is because there are a lot of units that have been foreclosed and that are not paying any maintenance. So anything that could be done to encourage people to get these foreclosed units onto the rolls, to get them purchased, will benefit the entire association. And there is a move to establish an entity where unit owners, people like us, can invest in this entity to buy these foreclosed units, because every unit that goes from foreclosure to out of foreclosure starts paying the maintenance and starts reducing the deficit, because if that's not done, it's going to have to come out of our pockets. So anything we can do that makes sense to get these units purchased, other than the association buying them, makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Okay. Michelle, you have something to add?
Well, I was under the assumption that we were already starting to, once those amendments passed, which I worked very hard to get those amendments through, that we would automatically start collecting from the renters directly. I thought that was already implemented. We are, okay. Okay, because the way you were talking, it was like this was going to happen, and I already assumed that it did happen.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely I feel that way, and I definitely think that we should be able to revoke privileges from those that don't pay.
Right. Okay, Linda, you wanted to add something? Sorry about this. Here, Linda, you can have me.
My only thing is, these tools that were provided by the amendments are so great and powerful. We'll have them all our life now, There is also coming in your package an emergency, quote-unquote, amendment to help us get through this foreclosure period, where for a limited amount of time, relating to what Marvin said, collective entity of owners in good standing, you must be in good standing, you must be all paid, it's everything is above board, can buy up in bulk units that are stagnating in banks, costing us $30,000 a month in losses. So this is very, very critical. Where do you think the money will come from unless we do something creative, active, where we have conscious control of it, screen the people, and allow things to work for us, allow investors to work for us. So they don't get to just do it under the table. It's done in an orderly manner, and it will benefit us so greatly to get these units back on the rolls and get ahead of the game. And to me, this is being in control of your situation, taking charge of your situation. So we need to be open to these ways. We need to conduct them honestly, above board, and we need to get that money in our purses. We deserve it. So, and now is the time. So I'm saying all the tools, that have been mentioned, including getting blanket receivership for the ones we can't achieve through the other manner, must be done now. We could have been active in August on some of these things, and it took us a long time. We fought hard for this and hard for you. So all this year, I want to see our staff in the office on the beam with this, and catching all the loopholes we know can happen, and really concentrated on getting us financially in order.
Okay. Ed, do you have anything to add to that subject? No? Okay. Fine. This is a little, little pet thing. We're starting to lose some of our audience. Don't forget, Christine is still open, if that's an enticement. I have to ask this one. After Hurricane Wilma, approximately $280,000 of association funds were spent to fix selected units and not others with similar damage. Those funds were never repaid. Would you consider recovering those funds? Okay, Marvin, you got a hand right up there.
We have received, to the best of my knowledge, about a total of about $3 million from the lawsuit against Pegasus and from the insurance settlement against Citizens. And it is my understanding that these funds have paid in full all the issues of all the repairs and all the issues we have had with Wilma and with Pegasus. So if we have been paid by these settlements, how can we ask to be paid twice? I don't understand that. So again, the premise is that we've already got these settlements, we do have the money, we've been paid for it, to go and ask to essentially double dip. I don't understand the legality of that.
Okay, so your answer to that would be no.
No,
correct?
Yeah, we already got paid.
That's your understanding. Okay, somebody else have anything to say about it?
I would have to, forgive me.
Go ahead, Michelle, you got the mic, so.
I would need to know all the details about it and all the facts, because you cannot double dip.
Right.
Because it is a legal issue. But if
Right.
I saw all the details, all the facts, and exactly how it happened, and it was presented to me in a way that I could understand and know every aspect, and I'd need a legal advice on that,
Right.
then I'd make a decision on that. But to ask me that without seeing everything and knowing everything as far as that's concerned, I can't possibly give you
Right.
an answer for that.
Right, okay. Michael? Oh, Francis.
No, the only thing I can add is that Marvin's statement really is accurate. We initially even drafted letters to go to these various owners whose property was fixed up by the association, and they got repairs that were not part of what the association had to do. As a matter of fact, the state slapped our hands. They said they understood that it was done out of compassion, and it certainly was. We had a building that was actually condemned, as you all know, the Heidelberg, and people had no place to go and they had no homes. And we did a lot of repairs, and things were done that were not part of the association's responsibility because people really were out of it. A couple of unscrupulous owners did have enhancements made that we were not entitled to, and it's a shame on us, okay, that this happened. However, Marvin is correct with the claim against Pegasus and with the supplemental claims against citizens. We have technically been reimbursed for those expenses. And as much as I would love, just love, to go after a few people, it would be double dipping. So the question is moot, because we no longer have the luxury of taking any further action in that matter.
Anybody? Well, go ahead, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I would just concur that sometimes, you've got to release because, and I would, like Michelle said, consult with a lawyer like Ed, because, and if not, then we just have to release and get our money now from where we can, put our concentration now.
Okay, Ed, you don't have anything to say about that?
No.
You're not involved. Okay. A question. Do you think a property manager should live on the premises he manages? Ed, we're going to give you the starting block.
I don't see what difference it makes to me. I don't see what difference it makes to me where the property manager lives. If he wants to live here, we have him close by. If he wants to live somewhere else, that's his choice to make. I know that when I was working, I wanted to live as close to where I worked as possible. I was fresh, I didn't have travel time, I was able to devote myself to my job. And I say, what difference does it make to anyone or to the operation of this association? I say it's a non-issue.
Anybody else?
I agree with Ed, it is a non-issue.
Fine. Okay.
He's a very desirable tenant.
Okay, Ann?
I agree also. It doesn't make any difference where he lives, and as long as he's living here, he could see things too. He could see what's going wrong. He could be very helpful. It's okay.
Okay. Michael?
Yeah, I also agree. I think the more relaxed and well-rested our manager is, the better job he'll be able to do. 2 hours a day on the road to South Miami wouldn't help that.
I think it's a plus having him here. All along from day one, I always never understood why the manager wouldn't have lived here if he had the availability. If a hurricane happened tomorrow, he's here on the premises. If a building catches on fire, he's here on the premises. If something severe or major happens, he's here on the premises. It's a plus. Anywhere I ever lived, years ago in New Jersey and I rented, the manager always lived on the property. Actually, we provided management. There was placed a little on the property, but I just think it's a big plus.
Go.
Well, I'm going to give a dissenting voice here. It certainly is seemingly advantageous to have a property manager at our beck and call or living right here. There's certainly advantages to it. But there are some potential problems. Virtually every property management company prohibits their managers from living in the property that they manage because there are certain real potential conflicts of interest. How Gil got dispensation from, and I've been told that KW Management's policy is that a manager is not to live in the property where he is employed. How Gil got special dispensation from that, I don't know the story, I'm not on the board. And I also have to assume that the board is fully aware and gave full permission for this to happen. As far as the conflict of interest, I lived here during, most of us did, right after Wilma. We had a property manager living here on premise who we learned later was in cahoots with Pegasus and was very much responsible for the insanity and the devastation that we got as a result of Pegasus. There was also involvement with some board members. So there was a case where a property manager being here and not having the best of intentions did tremendous damage. So if Gil is a good man and if Gil has good intentions and only wants the best, wonderful, I'm glad I'm here. but it is a potential conflict of interest, and if I was on the board, I would want to know more details of how this happened against his own company's stated policies.
I have one comment to make on that.
Yeah.
Okay, if someone's gonna do something bad,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get in cahoots, whether the property manager lives here or not, they're gonna do it. They're gonna
Yes.
find a way and they're gonna do it.
Okay. Linda, you're the only, pardon?
Our previous manager, Brian Seidler, said you couldn't pay him to live here, so.
Okay. Go ahead, Linda.
First of all, I, for whatever reason, did not participate in the decision, and I would, like Marvin, I think, I'm a reasonable person, so, you know, I can see pluses to it, I can see potential minuses, and to me, it just says you have to be vigilant, and if I had known what the condition was, perhaps, he was in the midst of moving or whatever, and I don't know what the conditions are, I'd have to know. And then I would hope that I would make a reasonable and not a fixed determination about it.
Can I ask a question? Linda and all board members, did the board, at no board meeting did I see a discussion of this. Did the board vote on this, or did it just happen?
No, this is, it was an office decision somehow.
All right, the
Anyway,
question.
let's move on. The point is
Right.
that
Right. The question, we're just bringing out the question and getting an opinion. We've had the opinion, most of the
But I will
board.
say this, okay? I will say this, that there was a morning when all of the laundry machines had been stuck with glue and gum.
We're not talking about one time. We're talking about the concept. The concept, you either like the idea or you don't like the idea. Most of the people here, we're not talking about a one-time thing.
I'm saying
You like it or
I
you don't
would
like
think it through.
You would think it through.
I would
Okay,
wait.
fine. Very good. That's a good opinion too. All righty. All right. I think. Anybody else have something to say about that? All right. All right. I'll just. I have noticed. I'm going to elaborate on this because we have a few moments. We're moving along pretty nicely. We're pretty much through our questions. I've noticed something, and I've noticed people who were on the board at one time, when they're not on the board anymore, you don't see much of them. If I'm looking in the audience, a lot of the people that we had on the board in the past are not here. What do you think? Do you think it's important for owners, because whether you're on the board or not, it's only for owners, is it important for owners to attend regular board meetings?
Yes, I think it's a good idea for them to see what's going on and to hear what the board is talking about,
Yeah.
to put their input in.
Almost a rhetorical question. Anyone don't think that it's better for owners not to attend?
Owners.
I think, go ahead, Francis.
Since you're videotaping the meetings, I don't see why we can't provide it to the owners in their homes to watch on our channel that we're
All right.
Actually, I agree with Michael. I heard before that there was a channel and there was equipment here that can be provided, that everything can be posted, that owners that are crippled or handicapped or can't get out, or ill or sick, can attend the meeting.
As it happens, is that what you're saying? As it happens, or you mean after?
As it happens.
That's interesting. Interesting concept. Interesting
One of the things
concept.
we need to work on, we have 2 empty, available community channels where everything can be announced.
Yeah, all right, fine.
That's to be worked on.
That's an interesting idea. All right.